On January 21, 2025, the Trump administration revoked a long-standing policy that had restricted immigration enforcement actions in sensitive locations such as schools, churches, and hospitals. This 2011 policy was designed to ensure that federal immigration authorities, including Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and Customs and Border Protection, CBP, avoided these spaces unless absolutely necessary. Its purpose was to balance enforcement priorities with humanitarian concerns, allowing individuals to access essential services without fear of arrest. By removing these protections, the new directive authorizes federal agents to conduct enforcement activities in areas that were once considered safe havens, fundamentally altering the dynamics of immigration enforcement in the United States. The change has caused widespread concern within immigrant communities who now face heightened fear and uncertainty. These spaces, previously relied upon for healthcare, education, and religious refuge, are no longer considered secure, deterring many from seeking services or attending places of worship. This shift has disrupted trust in institutions that historically provided support, further isolating vulnerable populations and exacerbating the challenges they face in navigating daily life. Religious institutions, particularly churches involved in the sanctuary movement, have been profoundly affected. Many churches are reevaluating their practices as the potential for enforcement actions within their walls raises fears of legal repercussions and safety concerns. While some congregations have chosen to discontinue offering physical sanctuary to undocumented immigrants, others remain resolute in their commitment to provide refuge, citing moral and ethical obligations. This divergence has sparked debate within religious communities, highlighting the tension between adherence to faith-based principles of compassion and the risks posed by the new policy. The policy shift has also drawn significant attention from state and local governments, as well as advocacy groups, who are working to mitigate its effects. Some states have proposed legislation to limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities or to designate additional locations as off-limits for enforcement. Legal experts and advocacy organizations are scrutinizing the directive, raising constitutional concerns about the protection of religious freedoms and civil liberties. Many argue that the policy undermines the long-standing notion of sanctuaries as inviolable spaces, posing a fundamental challenge to the balance between law enforcement and humanitarian considerations. At its core, this development reveals a collision of priorities. Federal immigration authorities now have expanded enforcement powers, but these come at the cost of community trust and access to essential services. Immigrant communities, religious institutions, and advocacy organizations are left grappling with the consequences, while the nation faces deeper questions about the ethical, legal, and societal implications of these enforcement strategies. This moment marks a turning point in how the United States navigates the complex intersection of immigration, governance, and human rights.